Hey there guys, I am SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon 2. Last time we started to explore World 5, unlocking all the levels here, and to play some of them too. In this episode we're going to go ahead and jump into our next level, the Transfer Junction, intersection of the soul. Wonder what I mean by the soul part. Do we get to listen to some blues music? Yeah, I like it, some good old blues music, it's good for the soul. No, in fact, actually we get to go ahead and play through a cycle-based level using the slosher. So, starting off, I'm going to go ahead and throw down a curling bomb so we can go ahead and make this platform immediately. And here I'm going to throw down some ink, and if I time it just enough, I can go ahead and jump on the platform before it starts to move. That's really tight, by the way. The timing they give you to jump to that platform isn't really much time at all. The second you're standing right in front of it, that's when the moving platform starts to move around. So that's why I inked it before I jumped over to where the platform was, and here in particular, I just need to wait for this wall to move around and just ink it as I go. So inking on the back here in particular will give us our Sardinium of this area. So there you go. Sardinium was very easy to find here, but that's just because it's in a very risky place. That's probably one of the best places they could have put it just for that reason. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up this wall, and now we got to wait around here a bit. So I guess while we're waiting, because we were talking about fast things, I want to go ahead and talk about the speedruns in particular of the Splatoon games. And honestly, when you look at these games as speedruns, they're very fun to watch because there's not really that much you have to worry about when you're speedrunning the Splatoon games in particular. There's not really that many glitches. In fact, really the only glitch I can think of off the top of my head is in Splatoon 1, there was a little glitch you can go ahead and do, which basically skips an entire world of the single player. But there's nothing like that at all in Splatoon 2, for both the single player mode here that we're playing, along with its DLC mode, the Octo expansion. There really isn't anything game breaking in terms of speedrunning, but they are fun watches just because of all the execution. If you play specific levels right in Splatoon 1 or 2, they look very fun to go fast in. And definitely trying to get a level like this very fast is very rewarding, because as you can see, there's a lot of waiting around here. So being able to do this level very quick, it definitely feels like you mastered the game. And depending on the weapon too and what you're doing, some levels can be really fast to play through. Although for speedruns of this game in particular, most of the time they're just playing on a new game file, so they can't take advantage of using specific weapons in specific levels for that reason. Really the most they can do is just use whatever weapon they're given at the beginning of a level. So here you just still use the slosher. There is New Game Plus runs on the other hand, which will allow you to go back through these levels and play through weapons that you normally wouldn't have when you first played the level, but because you already technically beat the game, you have that weapon available, so you can just do whatever you want. Those runs are pretty interesting to watch just for that reason. You get to see what kind of weapon people prefer to use in specific levels, but for the most part, you just pretty much see people playing it as it's intended from the very beginning, and it's just a fun watch. Now here I'm actually going to cheese this portion of the level a bit. What you're supposed to do normally is that you're supposed to activate these switches from both sides, killing enemies on both the right and left side of this area, which will actually have this block in the center start to rotate. But using your slosh, you have just enough range to hit the sides of this giant block. So now all I need to do is just activate one more switch, and the key has now appeared. So I don't have to worry about the block rotating at all. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and kill these enemies just for some extra eggs, which activates another checkpoint, and now this block starts to rotate. But I feel like this is much harder to hit when it starts to rotate, because there's just a lot of things that are out of reach with the slosher. Using this trick I've shown on the other hand, makes this section actually pretty easy, because you don't really have to worry about the platform moving around all too much. So now with that done, we just go ahead and activate this platform so we can make our way over to the Zapfish. And that's a level for you. This one's actually pretty fun to play once you master it, because there's just a lot in general that you can just do very, very fast. It's definitely one of my favorite levels to run through in this final world. It's just very fun to play, especially when you get everything down pat. It looks really smooth. This looks to be a thesis on the massive weaponry employed by the Octarians. Specifically, this research shows how sentient tentacles are implanted in their machines as a means of control. This science is at least 15 years ahead of the rest of the world. Well, that's some interesting backstory about the science on Octarians. Wasn't expecting that knowledge, but let's just go ahead and jump to our next level here. Go ahead and make our way to level 25, the platform Madhouse. Please mind the gap. They're not kidding when they say gap. There's going to be a lot of gaps in this level, so definitely watch your footing. So jumping right in, luckily one of the weapons they do give us for this level is a long-range weapon, the Splatling. This level is pretty easy to do when you have a long-range weapon, but for a short-range one, it definitely makes things more complicated. Right there, I want to go ahead and turn around right away as we land, just so we can go ahead and get ourselves some extra power eggs from that crate. And there's a lot of enemies here that just pop out of ink, so be paying attention here. And just go ahead and spawn out in front of you, clearing out the enemy ink as fast as you can. Just to reveal all the Octarians. Here we're going to go ahead and shoot down these crates as fast as possible, which will reveal a key and also a checkpoint behind all those crates. And now for this section in particular, we gotta be very careful because they throw 2 Gatling gun enemies at us along with some extra beefier Octarians. So this section we have to be very careful. But I'm gonna leave one of the Gatling gun Octarians for now because I'm gonna go ahead and ride these platforms down to the very bottom. And as you can see here, it reveals a secret little area which has ourselves a meal ticket. For the longest time I actually didn't know that meal ticket existed, so it wasn't until a recent playthrough I found out about that. And it's actually a really nice little touch too. You wouldn't really think there would be anything down below because if you hug on the side of those platforms as a squid, it will just push you right off. So I never really thought of riding those platforms down because I thought it was just too risky. But if you somehow manage to get down there like I just shown, you can go ahead and just jump off the side of one of those platforms, get yourself a meal ticket. So if you want yourself an extra meal ticket from the multiplayer, that's definitely a secret area you want to go ahead and check out. Now in this section here, as you've seen earlier, we grabbed ourselves a ink storm, which I'm not going to use right away. I'm going to wait until a little bit later in this level to go ahead and use that special, just simply because I want to go ahead and use it in a section that has a lot more enemies. And here, it's not that big of a deal because the Gatling gun just does a lot of damage. I just like using the Splatling in general. I didn't use this weapon too much in Splatoon 1, but I found myself using the Splatling more in Splatoon 2. I don't know, it's maybe just because of some of the pairings that the Splatling got in general, because I feel like the Splatling weapon in Splatoon 2, it definitely got some better special and bomb pairings, so I just found myself using this weapon a lot more in this game in particular. It's a very fun weapon actually to use, especially in some of the ranked modes, just simply because of how great this is for damage. But here in particular, we gotta go ahead and activate these 2 switches on the wall, which will go ahead and open up this door and lead us to our next section. Right here, this is where I'd like to go ahead and use my ink storm. So I'm gonna throw it right between all these enemies, just start making it rain around them, and luckily for me, that will actually kill a good chunk of these guys. It did miss some of the ones in the front, but it's not too big of a deal because they're already damaged from the rain. So that's that section taken care of. On to our next one here. We have a lot of moving platforms in this section. We gotta be careful because if we're not careful in this section, these platforms could just nudge us off to the side. So let's just do our best to not fall off here. Gonna ink this wall in front of us and climb up above. And here in particular, we go ahead, throw on a curling bomb just so I can get some extra movement right away. And gotta be very careful here not to get pushed off. If you're not careful in that section there in particular, going for the extra eggs may be deadly just because if you're not fast enough, you can get shoved off and die. So here, luckily, using the... Or you can just kill yourself. Okay, I was gonna say, using the balloon will pretty much take care of that enemy or its shield depending on where it's facing. And then it just decided to dash off the ledge. I don't know what it was thinking, to be honest. The Octarian's one of the ones that definitely is one of the more annoying enemies to deal with just because it has those boosters and a heavy shield. But he decided to go ahead and make the fight easy because he just dashed right off the edge. I don't know what he was thinking, but it works for me. So I'm going to wait here for a second because these platforms move. If you're too fast in this section, you will actually just jump straight off into a pit. So this section, you definitely want to be careful of. Now right here, before we hit the checkpoint, I'm going to jump down below, which gives us a Sordinium at the level. And now we'll take the little jump pad to get to our checkpoint. So in this section, we have to deal with this platform pretty much the entire time. So what we need to do in this section here in particular is that we need to keep on hitting this target that we see, and it's not going to be the only target, because this platform's going to take us all the way around here, as you see, but then it's also going to take us up above, which is what the second target here is for. We need to go ahead and shoot these targets to get this platform moving around to get us through this whole area in general. So I'm going to just take out that enemy shooting out bombs. He is definitely a pain, but Camille looked like he hit one of the switches for me, so thanks, buddy. So with the Splatling here, we just keep on charging up and just shoot this target like mad. This area is definitely great for a Splatling. If you replay this level with one of the other weapons, you'll definitely notice just how much harder this section can be if you don't have a rapid firing weapon like the Splatling. Here I'm going to get on top of the platform, which normally what they want you to do is actually something different. They actually want you, instead of getting on top of the platform like that, they want you jumping around on the side platforms and then just making your way on the top. But because we can go ahead and ink the platform and then just stand in our ink, I'll just go ahead and opt to do that instead. But we're in a secret area here. As you see, we hit that switch at the very end of the level, which took us to a new route, giving us the sunken scroll. That's really the only purpose of that area. If you don't care for sunken scrolls, you don't need to go over there at all. But there you go. That's that level in the books. I really do like that ending though, because it is pretty challenging, but at the same time, if you know how to use your weapon properly, it could be a pretty fun area to go through. My dearest Callie and Marie, stop. On a research trip to the Cape with Agent 3, stop. Maybe late, but left dinner in fridge. Stop. Looks like Captain Cuttlefish doesn't really know how to send a message through anything, honestly. He has a hard time with the radio on Splatoon 1, and Splatoon 2, his Morse code doesn't really seem to be that great, if you want to be honest. So I'm actually going to go ahead and jump back all the way to the main area here in the Tentacle Outpost, so we can go ahead and upgrade one of our weapons here in particular. Now I want to go ahead and actually upgrade the Hero Shot, and you'll see why later on. But the Hero Shot's going to be very important for one of the upcoming levels. So let's go ahead and upgrade this, and now we max it out. And as you can see, we need a lot more eggs so we can go ahead and get our ink tank. And we need a lot of eggs in general to get all the other weapons. So I'm not going to be leveling up all these, unfortunately, for single player. But I just want to go ahead and show you guys how strong the Splatter Shot is at level 3. Look at this thing. It's wrecking these targets. It's insane how fast this is. That's why I want this weapon to be level 3 immediately. It's just so powerful. It's a lot of fun to use, to be honest. Now let's go ahead and make our way back to the final world and jump to level 26. So, making our way back into the HQ, I'm actually going to go ahead and end the episode on that note. I know things are getting a little short at this point, but there really isn't that much left. So, with that said, next time on Let's Play Splatoon 2, we're going to jump into level 26, the Paradise Lanes. I'll see you guys next time.